Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh, and I'm joined as always by my brother Jake. What's up, Jake?
Got the new lid on.
There it is.
Super pumped. Thank you for this.
Yeah.
Birthday gift from bro. So thank you, sir.
Hey, we're going.
Yeah.
It's 10.
I guess I should say bro and sis, right?
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Don't
actually.
wanna leave you out, Katie.
Yeah, and actually, the hat, like when we saw it, she was like, "That just screams Jake to me," and I was like, "All right, can't argue that then."
Yeah, dude. My buddy Garen come over. He wears some hats with the rope on it, and I've been looking at him lately, and I'm like, man, those look sweet. And then we were at training, spring training, and I saw a couple of them, and I liked them, and I never pulled the trigger. It's just what I don't know, just didn't pull the trigger. And you sent me that text, and I was like, nope.
I know. I was like, this might be a dead giveaway, but
That's fine.
He's a grown man.
Right. We're officially pushing 40 now.
Pushing?
Yeah. Once you get to above the 8, you're pushing the next number.
Oh, okay.
So officially pushing 40 now that I'm 38.
That's it. And it's not the 9?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
I don't know the rules.
There is no rules. This is my rules, right? So
Okay.
This is just me. When I'm closer to the round number, I'm officially pushing it.
Okay. So that'd be 36.
No, because I was closer to 35.
Oh, you go in 5s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hence the round number.
I got you. All right, man. Well, it's the All-Star break. How bad do you miss baseball at this point?
I do, but man, I'm just so busy right now.
I'm bummed out. Yeah.
That's a perfect clip.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some things, you know what I mean? We've been staying busy, but it is kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, but there's not even a game on.
Or like there's not even highlights on.
Not even highlights. There's nothing to look at.
I love coming home at the end of a long day or whatever, whether it be softball or work or whatever, come home and just turn on MLB Network and just see some highlights. That's why I think MLB should have an alternate channel, which they do.
Mm-hmm.
That should be for showing games, and MLB Network should just do MLB Tonight all evening. Show me stuff.
Or at least the alternate channel could do that.
One of the two that I can easily see and just see some highlights.
Well, you have MLB TV. You could go on there and watch that, whatever it's called. But they don't do that every night, do they?
I don't know. I haven't got on it as much. Usually when I turn on MLB TV, it's just straight up.
This is where we are. For those of you who are keeping up with the 1919 episodes that we've been having, I'm almost down to the bottom of this one. There's not much left in there.
We need to reach out because that would be a great. I would have no problem having one every time.
Yeah.
Especially if they could send us the small cans, but I mean, I'll drink the 16 ounces too. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
All right. This is going to be a fun one. Hey, listen, the proverbial second half of the season starts Friday night. The Pirates play host to the Phillies. We're going to talk about Pirates are 500 right now. We're going to talk about, is the glass half full, glass half empty? What would it take for it to kind of switch on you? We'll get into that. All-Star game is coming past, home run derby, All-Star game, all that stuff. We can kind of talk about our thoughts there and then take a look at basically what we're looking at for the second half of the season and more recently and further away and whatever. But going to be a fun one. A little bit, I don't like to assume. I was going to say a little bit slower pace, but maybe not. Maybe we don't slow it down. I don't really know. But either way, Phillies coming to Pittsburgh. But let's actually talk All-Star Game first. Let's get that stuff out of the way. All-Star Game, Home Run Derby, wherever you want to start. What'd you think?
I want to start with this.
Okay.
Completely, obviously, Home Run Derby, not Pirates related, right? I thought it was awesome when Hernandez was hitting and they kept showing Vladdy. And he's wearing a Hernandez Blue Jays jersey. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. Because even when they, I don't know, even when they like show the other players, they're usually not wearing another person's jersey. And I just thought that was cool that he was showing support for, his former teammate.
Yeah. National League didn't hold their end of it. The National League rookies won. The National League won in the Home Run Derby. And then, for whatever reason, the National League can't win the All-Star Game.
They won it last year.
Yeah, they won it last year. Pit City What is in the chat. He asks if Ben is waking up from his hibernation yet. I don't know.
Not sure.
Yeah, I thought, hey, let's talk about the Pirates players. I think that went fine. I mean, you wish Reynolds didn't get that last out, but nobody's hitting Class A apparently.
Yeah.
So it's not really that big of a deal. He did have a hit. And Skenes threw a clean inning, 4 outs, right? I mean, if the catcher could catch, 4 outs.
If Contreras with it, jeez, that team up north.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if Contreras can catch the heat, they must not have any fireballers up there. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got Devin Williams throwing a mad changeup.
It was over the plate, and he couldn't catch it.
Yeah, it got the corner. It looked more of a strike than what it was if you looked up like on MLB. But it definitely got the corner. It was a great pitch. Totally floored Soto. Soto had that one swing that looked really silly. And
on the sinker. I think Skenes cleared that up for everybody.
He's been saying that all year, though.
I know.
It ain't going to matter. StatCast registers that as a splitter. He calls it a sinker. I mean,
but it goes back in time just a little bit, and this has nothing to do with old school. It's the fact that whatever the pitcher calls it is what you call it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So if he says it's a sinker, it's a sinker.
Yeah. That's also, you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, you can call it a fastball, but if it's a curveball, it's a curveball. If he grips it like a curveball and snaps it like a curveball and it makes this shape, it's a curveball. I don't care if he wants to call it a fastball or, that's my slow ball. That's not a thing, dude. Right. Sometimes it doesn't matter what they call it.
Yeah, but when he's not making up a new word, I don't feel like there's any reason to make up a new word. Sorry, I'm done. I'm over there.
Yeah, I know. You're going to go on that one. That's all right. It's all right. Yeah, I mean, it like I said, it was a strike, but I'm old school too. But, I mean, the catcher doesn't catch it, you can't get the call.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, you can't get the call. Your catcher has to catch the ball.
Yep. Maybe I feel a little bit differently because it's an all-star game. Like, it's not his normal catcher.
Right.
But I'm with you 98% of the time.
Well, no, I mean, if it's his normal catcher and he doesn't catch the ball and he doesn't get the call, I'm not surprised.
Right.
But anyway, I was going to say Soto is, he does all the antics and all that stuff where he thinks that he's got you and he shuffles and all that stuff. And you can see what he's thinking. And sometimes it's annoying, but I will say, like, he also gives the nod when he feels like he wants to show respect. I mean, he gave him a nod. Like, when he fooled him, he showed him, you know what I mean? That's his way of doing it. It's like, whether you call it annoying or not, that's his way of saying, all right, I see you.
Yeah.
But they did let him off the hook, saying, I'll make sure that Judge bats. And then he did that. And then Judge doesn't understand drama. What are you doing?
He's trying to get a hit. He guessed fastball first pitch and he tried to jump on it.
Yeah. And he got, yeah. I mean, That Ohtani at bat, at least it was, I mean, he swung too, right? But it was 3 pitches, just boom, boom, boom. And it was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got him later. But like, I don't know, man. That Judge just doesn't have a flair for the dramatic. You got to at least swing and miss through one and then hit one out. You can't just ground out to third.
Hey, out's an out. I'll take it.
Well, I mean, I'll take it too. Did you hear what Judge said?
I did not.
He said, we'll call it a draw because even though we didn't score any runs, he didn't get any strikeouts.
It's fair.
You think I saw some people say, I don't think you know how baseball works.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, but I get what he's saying.
I do too. I think that I think that's another thing where he's saying like, hey, we expected this guy to mow us down and he didn't. So I think that we're pretty pleased with how we did against him. And I'm like, bro has 11 starts and you've hit 50 homers before. Why are you talking like he's better than
He's
you?
hit 60 homers.
That's right. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'm just backing your point up, man.
Yeah. All right. So anything else? I have one other thing, but you have anything else?
Not really. I was kind of surprised to see, or I thought it was funny that, so they removed Judge, Yankee, put in Duran, the Red Sox, and he hits the big home run. I was like, that's funny. Just the Red Sox Yankees deal of it.
Mm-hmm. We got to get back to wearing the team uniforms.
Yes.
We got to get back to wearing the team uniforms during the All-Star and wear those fancy, stupid things during the Home Run Derby.
I did love the National League's uniforms.
Oh, I
loved them.
Hated them.
But I don't want to see them in the game. I want to see a Pirates uniform in the game.
The only thing worse than those National League uniforms were the American League uniforms.
Man, I thought they were really, I thought for sure you would have liked them.
No, I hated them both. They were awful.
I liked the National Leagues a lot. I did not like the American Leagues. That was awful.
The American League hat, the way that they messed with the logo on the hat, there was a lot of them that I was like, I don't even know what that logo is.
Yeah.
And like, I know all the, you know what I mean?
Right.
But like, you can't tell what it is.
The Orioles logo looked awful.
Terrible. Orioles, Kansas City with all the thin lettering. It's like, what letters are those? Detroit looked like a mess because they've got the things inside the D. You couldn't tell what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just, a lot of them were terrible. Now, at least on the National League side, the logo was white. So the contrast was a little bit different. I'll tell you what, though, those hats, as bad as they were in the All-Star colors, when they wore them in the Pirates colors, they were awesome.
Yeah.
I really liked the white and the black stripe with the star on the side. And then the Pirates logo, I was like, that's actually really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't.
I'd be fine with them wearing the Pirates uniform with that hat. You know what I mean? Like the All-Star hat, but in your colors.
I'd be fine with that. The other thing is, it's like, what bothers me is like, you go to the game in Pittsburgh and they have the ugly ones on. I'm like, that doesn't have anything to do with Texas. Like, what are we doing? What are these uniforms? Like, a lot of times they're at least in the color of, you know what I mean, of the home team's color scheme. Like, if you remember when it was at PNC and, you see the clips of Ryan Howard hitting the sign to win it or whatever, they're wearing yellow National League jerseys with Pirates font letter or numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, that's what you do for the Home Run Derby. Don't put them in the Pirates, or don't put them, there was no Pirates, but don't put them in a Dodgers uniform during the Home Run Derby. Get the All-Star uniforms then. Yeah,
and I'm 100% in on that. But I personally did like the National League uniforms. But I'm still with you 100%.
You're the first person I've ever talked to. I say ever, like it was literally earlier this week. But you're the first person I've talked to that even thought they were okay.
I mean, everybody that came over, I say everybody, just like, but my buddy and his fiance and Ash, I mean, we all thought the uniforms were fine. We actually liked them a little bit. I mean, obviously none of us really cared for the American League, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'm a sucker for the black and that tealish color. Carolina blue, like I'm a sucker for that. I like that a lot.
It's the other color. And it's just the whole thing. Yeah, that's all right. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Altogether, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know what you want from the All-Star game anymore. You know what I mean? Like, there's not things that I'm looking for that are like iconic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I really don't know what you want from it anymore. I don't know if pitching's dominant, is it not worth it? Like, do we want them to score a lot of runs? Do we want the pitchers to show up? Like, I don't really know what my expectation of a good All-Star game would be.
I feel like this was one, though. I mean, there were runs, but there wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it was some pitchers dominated and some struggled. Hunter Green.
Okay.
But no, I thought because there was a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I saw this. I thought it was a pretty good All-Star game. There was something else I was going to say, and it completely left my brain. So we're going to move on.
Just move on.
Oh, that's what it was. I am really behind on some things. Does the All-Star game mean anything anymore?
No.
Because I know it did, then it didn't, and they were thinking about making it count again, and
no,
so it's 100% exhibition again.
It makes the most sense it could ever. And there's no reason why it wasn't always like this. Yeah. Whoever had the better regular season record gets home field.
Yeah.
Where before it counted, they just did every other year.
Right.
Oh, it was American League gets home field advantage this year. National League gets it this year. Could you imagine if we'd still be doing that and the 84-win Diamondbacks would have gotten home field advantage? You know what I mean? Like, that would have been a miss, especially now that we're allowing 84-win teams into the postseason.
Right. Yeah, you absolutely can't let that happen now.
But it was that whole thing where the one game in, I'm going to forget. I'm going to forget what year it was, but they ended in a tie because both sides ran out of players. And they made an announcement. I believe the National League was the home team, but I can't remember the year or where it was at. But they made an announcement saying if there was one out in the inning. They finally got word. If they don't score a run, the game's over. And so they didn't score a run, and it ended in I think a 7-7 tie. And they were like, this can't happen again. Because it was, I mean, there was booze everywhere. It was like you don't go to any sporting event ever,
right,
and be like, ties are okay. The whole thing is that you want there to be a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
Whether it's your team or not, like, you want there to be that. And if there's a tie, both teams lose.
Yeah. And for something like this, we're in a tie. You bring your best guy, you get 5 outs, hit as many homers as you can.
Yeah, I mean, I think something like that would be awesome. Now, if you've got extra players and you want to use the extra players, but like you plan on using everybody in 9.
Yeah.
And so that's what you do. You can't go out there and have guys pitching 3-4 innings just because it's extra innings. You can't do it.
Right.
It's an exhibition game. It can end in a tie. You came to see all those players play, not to see a result.
How about bro throws 2 pitches, gets 2 outs, and they pull him? That was he's like, the commentators were hilarious. So what about that 3-batter rule?
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Hey, walk this guy so we can give this other guy a guy. No. Sure, I'll walk him. And throws fastball right down the middle. And he's like, nope, we're getting him out of there. He's not playing. Oh, man. That's funny. That was good. It's fine. It's over. I'm looking forward to the games starting to go again and getting back into the swing of, meaningful games.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know. What do you think? We talked about the first half the other day, we talked about how, we're sitting at 48 and 48. We're at 500. We're, is the glass half full for you or is it half empty? And explain why. Essay.
Yeah, you mentioned that before we got started, and I'm like, man, I don't even know how to answer this question because the next 2 weeks are going to determine that. We got a tough schedule coming out of the All-Star.
Well, that's the secondary question, right? So is it half full or half empty now? And then maybe you can say, like, after these next 2 weeks, is that what'll change for you? I
can't help but say it's half full because we're on a 4-game winning streak right now.
Okay.
You had Cruz kind of starting to heat up a little bit. I think I was reading something where, he's 325 with 3 homers or something like that in his last 11 games played. So that's hopefully so. And then give him a few days rest. Hopefully he can keep up with that, a little bit of heater he's on. You got Reynolds being consistent. He started to see some signs from Jack. Maybe he can get something rolling.
Yeah, and then in Chicago just fell apart.
Just was nothing. I gotta say right now it's half full because I got Skenes.
Yeah.
And since Skenes has been here, we've been a little bit of a different team.
Yeah, and we talked about that on Sunday. What was it? What did it end up? 31 and 26 since Skenes' debut. So a little bit better there. I think for me, I would say the same thing. I'd say half full because I think this team has not played well. And I think being even at the All-Star break when you've had, Reynolds has brought things back to normal. Tellez has brought things back to normal. But like, you've had bad seasons from several guys. Like we started with Rowdy Tellez, and he was worse than you even thought he would be.
Yeah.
And Jack Sawinski didn't take a step forward or even stay put. He regressed so far this year. And so like Ke'Bryan Hayes is having a really bad year right now. And McCutcheon's he was, unlucky, then he was hot. We talked about this a little bit before. Unlucky, then he was hot. Now he's cold. And it's like, okay, well, maybe a break for him can turn things around. But we've not played well. O'Neal Cruz he's kind of in that like meh. It just hasn't broken open. There's been a lot of good signs, but then there's a lot of like strikeout streaks. And you know what I mean? It's like he's not quite opened it up yet. And so like, I think there's a lot of it. I think there's a lot of, catcher position in general hasn't played well. Nick Gonzalez kind of brought up the second base position, but Triolo was doing so bad there, hitting wise, you know what I mean? And so like the lineup, in a little bit of that way, like I think that being even at this point for me is a little bit of half full because you have an opportunity to right the ship. If you were hot all first half and you were still at 500, I'd be like, yeah, but what happens when you come back to earth? It's going to be worse than this, right? I think that this team can only get better in a way. And we've talked about this, like whether that's Jack figuring it out, whether that's Key figuring out, or whether it's like an acquisition that moves Jack to AAA and this guy plays the rest of this year. And then maybe Jack figures it out and makes an impact this year. Maybe not. Maybe he's just back next year. You know what I mean? I would go Reynolds in the outfield for that matter. For a left-handed outfielder, I would go Reynolds because I believe in Jack.
Yeah.
And I know that, there's people who are out there going to have their opinions, but I believe in Sawinski figuring it out and being an impact bat. But right now, it's just not quite there. And so if you go out and get a guy that can play the rest of this season and keep a hold of Jack, he's got an option. He's already been sent down. So you can still get him to figure it out. That's for me why it's half full. And it's still half. I always, it's funny because I wrote the question, but I don't like the question. I'm like, it's the same thing. But I'm using what people tell me that it's for to kind of explain, like, I think this team could at least do this again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're talking about a guy who looked at the team before the season and thought they'd win 78 games. So, you know what I'm saying? So, like, if I'm, obviously we all reserve the right to change our minds at any moment. But, like, it's just the way that I thought they weren't going to pitch well and that the offense was going to be fine. Well, you know what I mean? The offense hasn't been.
Right.
I didn't think the offense was going to be great. I thought they'd be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just haven't been. So if the offense comes around and the pitching continues to pitch, I mean, this team could actually be above 500, if they really play well, or if maybe they acquire the right player or whatever. So I'm glass half full because of that. What would change it for me? Well, we've got Philly coming to town, best team in the majors. And then we've got St. Louis after that, which is a team we're chasing. So, the Diamondbacks, they were in the World Series last year. I did pull up to see where the Diamondbacks were. So they're just a game. They're 49 and 48. I'm not necessarily, worried about that team, but run differential is positive. So, and then the Houston Astros, and we know they're going to be on a mission. And that's how we wrap up July. Like, that's not easy. And then Diamondbacks again. Padres, they're in the race. They're up there. But it's Padres, Dodgers, Padres.
Jeez.
In that week. And then Mariners. And then Texas. They're in a race. And then it's back to divisional games, Reds and Cubs. And then Cleveland at the end of August at the deadline.
It's definitely...
No, at the end of August. That's not the deadline. But you know what I mean?
No. Yeah. It's definitely going to be a ride.
Yeah, I mean,
that's rough.
You get a little bit of a break, depending on how teams do, but you get a little bit of a break in September, where I think you can make a little bit of a race, right? I mean, you've got Chicago, Washington, 4 games against Washington, and then Miami, and then Kansas City. We'll see where they are at that point in the season. And then 4 against St. Louis, who's a team that's going to be in the race with you, so that's important. And then the Reds, who's going to be in the race with you, that's important. And then you finish their last 6 games, though, with the Brewers and Yankees. So there's a little bit of that where it's like, okay, those could be meaningful games as well for the other teams. Like, it could be that the Brewers and the Yankees got it in the bag. I don't have any idea. Well, not the Yankees, right? They're not even in first right now, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's a, like you said, it's a ride. And I think just the way you finish the month of July. When is the trade deadline, by the way? Because remember, it's a moving target now.
I think it's August 1st.
He just sets it at the beginning of the year. Isn't that how it goes? Nope. For 2024, it is scheduled for July 30th at 6 p.m. So you're losing a day there. July 30th at 6 p.m. We play at 8:10 that night in Houston. Second game of the series in Houston on July 30th. So, I mean, we're quite literally less than 2 weeks away.
So Tucker will just be able to just walk over to our club.
Oh my gosh. Imagine.
Could you imagine?
Imagine. We've got a couple messages here in the chat. Let's pull some stuff up. This is Canyon here. Would honestly be happy if we went 3-3 this homestand, losing 2 against Philly, winning 2 against the Cards. I think that's fair. I think that's a good. I think I'd be happy there. I mean, like I said, how many times do we say like this team is so 500? But that would make sense. The Phillies are the best team, right? So record wise. Bucko Mike's here. OG says, no cream puffs the rest of the way except one series versus Miami. So they have a crucible ahead of them if they want to finish above 500. And he confirmed July 30th. So, yeah, I mean, this is a lot of it. If you want to finish above 500, you're going to have to go through a gauntlet here of, I think that there's a little more than that though. Sorry, that my head, you know how my head just kind of gets stuck into things.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 6 against the Cubs. The Cubs are not playing well. I don't think the Nationals, I don't know, the Nationals are like sneaky good. It's like when I look at them, I'm like, yeah, but they're not that, but they are. Like, then they have some players, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know where the Royals are going to be. And there's still 7 games against the Reds, which to me is another wild card. We've played so well against the Reds lately. To his point, they're not easy games.
Right. Any divisional game's not easy.
Well, yeah, or any of those games aside from Miami. Like, and even then, like the Phillies just closed out the All-Star break, losing 2 out of 3 to the A's. And one of them was like 18 to something.
Yeah.
So like on any given day. Oh, nice. I forgot to.
Which is funny because the A's have actually scored. They have the most like 18 run. They've got 3 games where they've scored 18 or more runs.
Oh,
this year.
that is kind of interesting. Well, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
Just a matter of time. Yeah, I had something to say there about that. Oh, baseball. Yeah, we looked some stuff up hanging out with some guys this weekend, and we were talking about, and I know this is probably going to rub some people the wrong way, but say it anyway. We're talking about competitive balance in the sport. And let's look Major League Baseball aside, right? Let's not think of just Major League Baseball. The game of baseball, no matter what level you're at, it is the most competitively balanced sport there is. And then we're going to use Major League Baseball as the most wins ever is what? The Mariners with 117, right?
Mm-hmm.
That winning percentage equals out to an NFL team winning 12 and a half games, which happens every season.
Yeah.
Okay, so the most wins you can get in baseball, the highest winning percentage anybody's ever had in a full season is 12 win season, 13 win season in the NFL. Right?
Yeah.
If you lose 60 games, that's a 10 win season. No, that's wrong. A 10 loss season. Wait, how did I do that? It can't be a 10 win season. It's a 6 win season.
If you lose 60 games, so you're 102 and 60.
You're 102 and 60, right? So you have 60 wins. That's a 6 win team in the NFL. That's a 6.29, so 6.3, so 6 win team in the NFL.
You've got me lost.
So a team
102 and 60.
No, 60 and 102. You won 60
said a
games.
60 loss team.
Okay, that's okay. That's on me then. That's on me
fine.
then.
That's fine. I'm with you now. I'm with you now.
A 60 win team.
Yeah.
It is a 6 win team in the NFL. There's worse than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're talking about a team who lost 102 games or who won, lost 102 games. And they're a 6 win team in the NFL. And that's like, well, geez, that we have 2 win teams every season in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that would be like a team winning 25 games.
Right.
Or 20 games. It's pretty close to actually even because it's 17 games and 162. So they're pretty close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, that's ridiculous. Or in the NBA, there's teams that win 10 games a year. You know what I mean?
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and that's an 82 game season.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of stuff just doesn't happen in baseball.
Man, I did not think. Again, I'm sure you guys looked it up because you have some basketball guys in your group. But man, I didn't think there were NBA teams that only won 10 games.
But they do the super teams. There's it's really top heavy in the NBA. Is the NBA going on right now?
No. The Celtics just won the championship.
Yeah, that's right. Celtics just won. Okay, so the Pistons were 14-68. They had a 171 winning percentage.
Jeez.
And in the other league, 21. So 256 for Portland Trailblazers. Wonder how many of the teams I've never even heard of.
Please tell me you've heard of the Portland Trail.
No, I have them. I said I wonder.
Okay.
So far, I'm doing all right. I'm looking through it.
What about the Pelicans?
Yeah. They used to be somebody else, right?
I mean, it's New Orleans.
But they used to be somebody else, and they moved down there, and they changed their name.
Probably the Hornets.
Right.
Charlotte. And then
right. And then Charlotte got a new team, right? So see, I'm with it. I'm with it.
Yeah, see, you're not that bad.
Brooklyn Nets. Didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Who's that? Like, wasn't it it was the New York Nets.
New Jersey.
Well, it's Brooklyn now. No, New York Nets. Oh, New York Knicks. It was the New York Nets, too.
No, it was the New Jersey Nets.
New Jersey Nets. Okay. This isn't like hockey. Hockey that's like, that sounds like a minor league team. Worst record ever in the NBA was 9-73.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Thanks, Rob, for looking at it. And he says the White Sox are doing their best to get there. But even then, like, you're going through a summer and like they've already won 40 games or something. Like, well, not they haven't won 40, but they're on pace to win like 40 games, right? And so, like, you know, I don't know. My Cavs before they got LeBron, Bucko Mike says 17-65. So I mean, like, let's just do that real quick. 82 games. That's a 207 winning percentage. That's a 33 win team in the MLB.
Jeez.
Which is 33 and 129. It's never happened.
We're with you, bud.
Yeah. Scott here from Pirate Take says, I'm so glad I'm not the only one with limited NBA knowledge. I cannot watch the NBA. Just can't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm with you there. Noah says that the 9-73 NBA is equivalent to the 2020 Pittsburgh Pirates. That can't be true, is it? Like they weren't there. I think they were on pace to be 110 losses. I'm going to look it up. Because that 2020 team was rough.
Mm-hmm.
They had a 317. Which is a 51 win season. 111 losses it would have been.
That's bad.
Yeah, but still, that's a 51 win season. And it's like you still got a chance to win 51 games that summer if that was a full season.
Right.
Baseball it's just not as, you know who the best team is when you get to the end of the year. That's why we don't have to have 600,000 teams and make the playoff. Oh, well, I'm not going to go on my soapbox there. I guess that all I'm saying though is that like you're going to lose to bad teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're going to be able to beat good teams too. So if they go and they sweep the Phillies, it doesn't necessarily mean the Pirates are for real and we're winning the World Series. It means they had a good series. Mm-hmm. And I'm not, I don't say that to say let's take the Pirates down, but I'm just saying like it's a long season. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. It's all those things. We're gonna, if they sweep the Phillies, let's party. But like we partied because they beat the Phillies 3 straight games, and they're the top team. I think it's all legit. Enjoy those wins. It just doesn't mean the whole thing. You have to keep doing it for it to mean that you're, what I'm saying? And so, I don't know, just kind of explaining my way through that a little bit.
Yeah. And the thing about it though, is it doesn't mean a whole lot, except for the fact that if you can get in, you can win.
You can get hot.
Yeah.
Which is also why there's a little bit of, if you want my argument on how many teams make the postseason, that's why I don't like the teams because I think that 162 is telling you who the best teams are.
Yeah.
And so I think you earn it in the regular season. If you start letting guys, I mean, imagine this. If at the end of the year, they take the last place team from each side and put them into a playoff spot, I guarantee you in the course of 20 years, one of them will make a pretty dangerous run.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they just will. They just all of a sudden it's clicking for them and they win 2 playoff series. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that, I mean, anything can happen, right? But it's almost a guarantee that one of them would make some sort of run in the postseason, at least win a series.
I mean, you look at it, and the Diamondbacks, didn't they have the worst record in the playoffs?
Yeah, there's 84 wins,
and they were in the World Series. So,
yep. Now, good for them, right? And we're looking at possibly being a team like that this year, and that's fine. But for me, I'm more of a. I think you figured it out over the course of 162.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah, Noah says here the 100-loss Pirates swept the 114-win Dodgers or whatever it was. So it was, it was close to that. But yeah, I mean that's, and we enjoyed it, right? But it's just one of those things. Rob says the 0-1 team was my least favorite Pirates team. At least we had Mike Fetters though. You got it, Jake? For the video users, do you got the Mike Fetters? Do you remember Mike Fetters? Here it is. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Mike Fetters. That's hilarious. The 0-1 Pirates had no, they didn't have Sean. That 0-1 was the first year of PNC Park.
Yeah.
Sean Casey wasn't until later. Sean Casey hit the first home run in 0-1.
I mean, we had Kendall.
Yeah. Kendall and Jack Wilson and
Brian
Giles. Still.
Yeah.
Still.
I'm not defending his statement. I'm just I
was probably a little tuned out at then. That was my I just graduated high school, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Getting ready for college and everything. So I was probably a little bit tuned out that year. All right. So Bucko Mike says if the Pirates sweep the what is this? Oh, the Phils. I got you. The Phils with Perez, Ortiz, Marco going. I'm celebrating like Texas State Armadillos play-by-play announcer when Paul Blake led them to victory. Sure. I mean, I think there's a nuanced understanding of what you just said. And I did a poor job reading it, but there's a very nuanced reference here. So if you guys know about Texas State Armadillos and Paul Blake, kudos to you because I'm not there. Oh, okay. In unnecessary roughness. I was like, I don't know. I get it. All right. I'm behind there. Okay. So, I mean, but he brings it up, right? We got Ortiz. We got Perez, Ortiz, Marco. It's that order, right? And they have, I had this pulled up. I only don't know the Sunday starter. Stroop be mad. But we got Nola versus Perez on Friday night. We've got Luis Ortiz, and we don't know. Although I thought I did see. No, there's a couple TBDs, but we do know this. Somebody put this out. Christopher Sanchez, Luis Ortiz, and then Tyler Phillips, Marco Gonzalez are the matchups. Sanchez is having a great year.
Yeah.
So, with that, I mean, I kind of figured that. I'm not surprised, right? We got Keller and Skenes going against the Cardinals. I'm actually into that. I'm okay with this. So, OG says Nola, Sanchez, and some bum. You bum. So yeah, Tyler Phillips, I think is what somebody had out there. The thing about Tyler Phillips is you don't know, right?
Right.
But the other two you do, and they're legit. And it doesn't really mean that you can't beat them. You still can. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they attack this weekend, how they do against Philly. That's going to be the first test of the whole thing. But yeah, I don't know, man. This is going to be a fun one, and it's to me really quick, right? I think the whole glass half full or half empty is going to tell the story here by the end of July. I mean, July 30th is that trade deadline if they're going to make a move to see what kind of direction they go. And there's a lot of things I'd be happy with. Me personally, since we're allowed to have our own opinion, right? And there's no right or wrong answer. I'm not trading Thomas Harrington. I like him too much. I like him too much. What he did, he showed Jared Jones the fastball that Jared Jones just dominated with. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm keeping a hold of that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? First off, let's let him show Skenes that and imagine what can happen there. I mean, 102, Skenes, and his fastball's his worst pitch.
Right.
So before you get traded, you need to have a Zoom call. Actually, I mean, Jared Jones could just show him, I guess, because now that he knows how to do it. But no, I think it's there. I think for me, Harrington and Bubba, I'm just not dealing them for. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm sitting here saying glass half full, but like I'm not trading those guys to add to this 2024 team. Yeah. I'm not sure it puts you over the edge. And I don't like a lot of the big splash moves. I don't like Jazz. I don't like Robert. I don't like who's the other? Well, I guess those are the only two big ones they're talking about, right? What do you got here? Jim said, I literally said I'd trade Harrington for Jazz. Jim, I love it. And we actually were, like, when we were getting ready and everything, we had you guys up. We had you and Mackie up. And I heard you say that, and I was like, oh, man, I don't want Harrington gone. I get it. Like, that's why I said we're all entitled, right? We're all entitled to our own opinions. And I like them all. I like the conversation. But I just really like him. I mean, we saw him down there in Sarasota that day. You guys were standing right there, Jim. You know what I mean? And I was watching him, and I thought, I really like this guy. And so you get those guys, right, that you kind of cling to and go from there. North Shore 9, yo. Huh? Yeah. That was actually Jim. I see.
Yeah.
That was actually Jim. Gotcha. That's all right. There's a lot. Yeah, so Jim's saying he loves Harrington, but we need offense. We do need offense. I don't know that Jazz, I don't know. He's there, like he's good. I'm not a big Jazz Chisholm fan.
I'm not either, and I do think he would bring a lot to the table for the team. I'm not even that sold on his skill set, to be honest.
Here's why Jazz Chisholm is weird. Because he's loud, right? He's a loud player. There's a lot of attention. He was on the cover of the show and nobody really knows why. And so like they had that thing just recently that came out that the players said that he's the most overrated player in baseball. And so I think that there was this thing where it's like Jazz is up here and you're like, well, he's not though. He's not up there. He's not that good. And then that story came out where he's the most overrated player. And it's like, well, Jazz is down here. And it's like, well, no, Jazz is a good player. He's in the middle of that. He's not terrible. He's a good player. He just isn't cover of the show good.
Right.
So it's like this really weird thing around Jazz. He is a good player. And maybe in a better lineup, he could be a really good player. You know what I mean? And so like he's left-handed, so that would work. I'm there.
He
like I get it.
Field, which helps.
Yeah, it helps. I would send Mike Taylor in the deal, by the way.
Yeah. Please take him. But I mean, I'm not against. I wouldn't give up Harrington to get him. I'm not against getting him. I just don't love. I don't love what he brings. But I do think that he could help our lineup. He'd help us out a little bit defensively. Well, he wouldn't hurt us defensively. It's just I don't know. The splashes that are out there, I'm with you. They're not great. I kind of wouldn't mind a Rooker trade, and like we said, we had you guys up, Jim, and I get that it kind of puts your defense in a bind, but we need the offense.
Yeah, and I think that, and Jim, I don't know, sure if we've had this conversation before or not, but like, I don't think that Bryan Reynolds and Jack Swinski are as bad as the numbers show.
No.
Like, I think they're okay. I don't think they're good. I think Reynolds has a good arm. I think Jack is fast, but Jack gets bad reads, and I think actually both of them probably. I think, we talked about this on another show where I think Reynolds probably gets a little bit of, like, left field's hard to play at PNC, and then the anomaly of Dickerson came up. Corey Dickerson won a Gold Glove playing left field when he was like terrible for his whole career. I think he's fine. I think they're fine outfielders. They're just not great. You know what I mean?
They get the job done though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not out there hurting our team.
Well, I think there are plays, right, that happen that hurt, and I think that's what sticks, and those are big time plays. So I don't really know. Because they both had their plays this year.
Yeah.
That have been like, oh, that's not good. But they're not killing you. It's not like Henry Davis in right field was.
No.
You know what I mean?
Well, and they keep, and I know maybe it doesn't play that big of a factor, but they keep moving Reynolds to each corner. Like, I feel like he's one of your cornerstones. He should just be playing left field every day.
Yeah.
And I know that was a lot more early on.
Yeah, they haven't been moving him.
They haven't been moving him lately, but I don't know.
It's just a numbers thing. As much as I love the numbers, as much as I love the data, I still don't think we've gotten defense right. I think the eye test, especially in the outfield, I think it's a lot better. I've seen a lot of guys that are way overrated too. I mean, we've got one of them right now. He's way overrated. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. You know what I'm saying? He's a good center fielder.
Yeah.
But he's not what was advertised at all.
Right.
So, yeah, Rob says, beginning of the season, he was playing more right field. So I don't know. Rooker, I told Jake before. Jake brought this up before the show, and he said he's old. Or I said he was old. He's a late bloomer. Yeah, he's 29 on a rookie contract, though. Like, I mean.
So what?
I'm just saying.
You figure it out when you figure it out. I don't.
I said he's a late bloomer. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything about it. I just said he's old. He shouldn't shouldn't take much. You shouldn't have to trade Harrington to get Rooker.
Right. I mean, bro hit 30 home runs last year. He's already at 21 this year.
Yeah.
He's under control until 28. Like, he becomes a free agent in 28. So I think yes, he's on the older aspect, I guess, but he's got quite a few years of control left.
Right. Yeah, the control is good, but I just think that everybody, you know what I mean? When you look at a player like that, you wonder how long that's sustainable. If it took him that long to get here, you know what I mean? You just don't know how long that's sustainable. Now, could he be Joey Bats, Jose Bautista? Maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There are guys who break out late and who are really good. So, but yeah, Jim makes a good point, mainly because he's a DH.
Yeah.
But there's a couple things that Bucko Mike's putting in there that we're not gonna put on our screen.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't want to make Jake mad. But anyway, yeah, I think that just these next, how many days we got here actually? 11 days, basically. These next 11 days are going to tell a lot about the team and how you're going to view the rest of the season beyond then. So,
yeah.
Jim says Bucko Mike wants to DFA Hayes. Bucko Mike wants to DFA everyone.
Yeah.
The next 3 comments from Bucko Mike have to be positive. I told Jake, he was like, man, He's down on everybody. I said, he's got guys he likes. So you got to prove it to Jake that there's guys that you like and that you think are really good. So let's see that. Noah, I will always stand up here. You do not trade Jack Sawinski. You do not trade Jack Sawinski. You don't do it. You can send him to AAA this year. I'm a believer in Jack Sawinski. I do not do that. I just can't agree with it. Jim, you were high on him. You were high on Jack. You got to have room for like, this is a bad year. If he does it again next year, I get it. But like, he was better than this last year.
Yeah.
And I think even if he gets back to that, he's there. No, KBO, come on. That's too far. It's too far. We're very recency bias type, sports fans here. And so I don't buy into that. I still like him. I know. He said he's half joking. I get it. Okay, so Bucko Mike, there's one message. Skenes, Keller, Jones, I like.
Who doesn't?
Well, I mean, who doesn't like Kutch? We got more here. We got okay. On the older breakout player category, Christian Walker broke out at 28. That's a good call there. Yeah. Michael 41 from 412 double play. That's good. Yeah. Jack Noah says Jack's only gotten worse. I don't know. I thought what he did last year was fine.
Yeah.
I'm not asking him to be like an all-star, right? But I think that those types of players are really good. I mean, 26 homers last year, and even when he went through a really bad spell. So, no, I think if he could put a full season together, he's an easy 30-homer guy. And I'll take 30 homers any day. Yeah. I get it. The on-base is there a little bit. The average is low. He's striking out. That's fine. I'll take that from a guy.
Yeah.
Not the whole team. I'll take it from a guy. The data says slugging percentage wins games. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like if he's gonna hit home runs, he's gonna be better more often than not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I mean that's what we're saying is the streakiness, right? 5 weeks of going over 20, and like he did that in a season where he had good numbers. Just imagine if he could cut out the 0 for 120.
Right.
And all of a sudden he's a 30-homer guy and you really like him. And he's a really important part of your team. Rooker's right-handed, right? I mean, I know I'm like way stuck on left-handers, but that's where I'm stuck is the left-handers. But if I'm getting a bat for this offense, I want it to be left-handed. That's why I'm in on Winker for a rental. And Sawinski goes to AAA so that Noah doesn't have to watch him play this year, but he can work on his game and come back and be strong. But I do like Jesse Winker. I think he's hot right now, and I think you go for that. The question is what the Nationals are going to do.
Right. Yeah. They probably don't know yet either.
Yeah, I'm not buying the Nationals right now, but they do have some good talented players.
Yeah.
There we go. There's a good one right here. This is my favorite comment of the episode so far. Bucko Mike, Axial Plaz, catcher of the future on someone else's team. I like the first half of it better. Dude, Axial Plaz, if you haven't been paying attention, check that dude out. 18-year-old catcher in Bradenton with like 7,000 home runs so far this year.
Is that dude we saw in spring training?
Dude, it might be. Second? So there was a catcher at Pirate City when me and Jake we'd have no idea who he was. And he was throwing absolute darts.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't
to
always
second
accurate,
and a third.
Man.
Yeah, he threw a couple away, but like, man, that arm was serious. And he looked very young, and I didn't know who it was. I kind of hope it was him. Jim says the Nats sell, and he likes Winker too. I do. Look, it might be him.
Yeah, he wasn't real big.
Anyway, he has a cannon if that's him. He has an absolute cannon.
Yeah.
Tell me this, Jim. Was he like, is he kind of thick? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I've seen, like, you watch highlights, everybody kind of looks the same, but like, this dude was a little thick, especially like he had some tree trunk thighs. I mean, they're wearing shorts and that there. They're not wearing uniforms. Yeah, short, but I bet it was him. Hey, you know what? We're going to say it was him.
Sure.
So I'm in on this. Noah Davis going to need a first base glove. I'm in on this.
Yeah.
I just want him to hit. I feel like we know he can do it. And I think that he spends so much time trying to be a really good catcher that it got in the way.
Like, and I know learning a new position, and I'm going to say this, and everyone's going to think I'm nuts, but first base is probably one of the easier positions to learn. You get your footwork down. He's already got decent hands. I mean, I get it that part of his problem as a catcher was, might have been his hands, but decent hands as a catcher is probably good hands at first. You know what I mean? Let's face it. I think it's an easy move for a guy like Davis. I think he'd fit in well over there.
Yeah, for me, it's all about the hitting. Like, we need him to hit, period. Whether he's a catcher or not, we need him to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, I'm getting distracted now. You guys are on it. You guys are on a roll here. I just need him to hit to work. And I think that how much he has to focus on catching gets in the way.
Yeah.
And if you're okay moving his arm there, then you'd be okay moving Bryan Reynolds' arm there. I'm not sure he's the first base guy, though.
I don't know. I mean, I could see it.
I would like Reynolds in right field because the arm is good.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? You get a shorter right field at PNC. I would like him in right field.
Let's talk about an outfielder that moved to first base since it is the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper's pick at first base on that ball. I don't know who hit it, but it was a missile and he picked it. That was a good play. And that's an outfielder converted first base.
That's a former catcher.
Former catcher.
You know what I mean? Like we're there. That's a catcher who came out from behind the plate so he could hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you another outfielder first baseman. Lamont Wade Jr. He might be available. That'd be a good pickup. Outfield, first base. Option, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Just a thought. I don't know where he's at contract-wise or anything like that, but
yeah.
One of those things.
I'm not even sure how he's doing.
Fine.
Not a name.
Hitting for power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least last time I looked. My fingers went to type and they forgot how, so we're not going to look it up. All right.
I said that it's way too early.
It's way too early. Hey, wait, that wasn't 3. Did he say 3? He said he liked Axioplast, but then he kind of threw in going to play for another team. He said he liked the pitchers. He was supposed to have another positive one. Okay, this one I guess you can say is positive. He's an athlete. He can play anywhere. Bucko Mike said Bryce Harper's an athlete and can play anywhere.
Yeah, that's about somebody who doesn't play for the Pirates.
Doesn't count.
I think he likes the Pirates font.
He really likes Colin Holderman, Carmen Majinski, Jack Sawinski. Those are his favorite.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jim Rosati says positive comments about the other team's players doesn't count. So there we go. I'm telling you right now, if he is actually a Cleveland fan, this would be a bad year to not just go all in on the Guardians. Now's the year to just jump all the way in.
What do you think about this, Josh?
I could see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it happening.
He's kind of getting blocked right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's guys there. I could see that.
That's the type of guy that gets traded. Like, this dude could be on our roster, but
so for the audio
Nick
listeners,
Gonzalez is playing a lot.
Yeah, for the audio listeners, the comment was chances Peguero is traded at the deadline. But like I could see that could be some value for another team.
Yeah,
that could add to that. So yeah, I think I'd be into it. I think that there would be some value there. It's better than the value that I see in like a Connor Joe. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't want that to happen because I feel like Connor Joe could actually be an asset to this team moving forward as, if nothing else, a backup plan for first base. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
mean, obviously you'd rather
if we're upgrading the team, I'd get rid of Connor Joe.
Yeah. Well, you'd be upgrading the future. I mean, you're not going to trade Major League for Major League most of the time. In that scenario. Not for him. I don't know.
Yeah. But if you're in the process of making your Major League roster better, I'd be okay subtracting Joe to replan.
Yeah, when the same thing with Peguero.
Mm-hmm. Well, Peguero might be able to bring you somebody now.
True. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of options. They've got a lot of ways they could go and get creative. And I don't know what this front office is going to do. I don't know how all in they're going to go. And I think that if I was in this scenario, I think I would be struggling with that answer too.
Yeah.
I just don't know how far I go this year. Like, I'm not going to sacrifice. That's the only reason I say Harrington. If you fast forward to next year and we have a chance to win the division and we have a chance to make a deep run because there are more pieces clicking than there are this year, that's when I'm okay dealing from those top end guys, because you're going to end up. And I think it comes back to the fact that I don't like a lot of the options. I think Robert's always injured. Jazz, there's just something there. You know what I mean? I think it's overhyped maybe. And like I said, he's a good player, but he's not like a big fish to go trading away. Like oh, that's funny. But pun was not intended. It was a complete mistake. It was a complete mistake. But no, like I just don't like a lot of the options that are big, that are quote unquote big splashes. And really the only one that anybody's come up with that's a really truly a big splash is Robert. The only reason he's not putting up productive numbers in year after year is because he's not on the field.
Right.
But as far as talent goes, I mean, he's the most talented we've talked about. I suppose you could say Vladimir Guerrero, but I'm not sure how serious that was.
Right. That would be an interesting one because almost no matter how good Rowdy's been, I mean, Vladimir's an upgrade.
Yeah. And just Rowdy's a one. Well, I guess Vladdy's what? Next year, after next year?
I think so. He'd be like a year and a half. I don't know. I like Rowdy, and I think what he's been doing lately is obviously really good. But
what do you know on the Isak Paredes, Jake?
What do I know?
Like, what do you think there?
I don't know. I think it's intriguing. That's what I think. I think it's worth another look.
I had this guy at 36 years old, and just like, I don't know what I was thinking when he first came up. He's 25. He's 25 years old. He's hitting 261. We just talked about before we started here. League average right now is 240. So he's well above league average. 15 homers already. 136 OPS plus. Free agent 2028.
Yeah, I think this says a lot for me. I agree with Jim on this. I think it's gonna cost too much to get him.
But is that a guy that you deal Harrington for? I don't know. I also don't know that like first. I don't know. And the other thing is like you start looking at players like that, and you say this is the guy that you sold for, and you brought a right-hander in, and his 20 home runs a year turns into 18, 16 home runs a year. You know what I'm saying? Like he's all of a sudden not an impact bat. Yeah. You know what I mean? I there's less home runs to hit at PNC. I mean, we see it all the time. I think actually, Jim, I think one time on your show, you made the comment about Kutch early this season. We were talking about how, you know, he had like 3 home runs or something. And you said that if he was playing in Milwaukee, he'd have 11 or something like that. It was like a really big, and this was early on, right? But it was just, it's a different game. You gotta have more left. Like if you're replacing a left-handed guy who could have power right now in Rowdy, he's got to be left-handed.
I agree with that, and I think you have your outliers for sure. I think a guy like Vladimir, or this is not. I'm not saying go out and get this guy at all, but just saying like Jorge Soler. Like I don't see their power numbers really dropping much just because of PNC Park. Like there's outliers of right-handed hitters that are still going to hit the ball out at PNC.
Right. So here's a good example here. Jim Rosati actually put it up. Paredes hit 31 home runs last year. He would have had 16 if every game was at PNC Park. Right. Now, obviously, half of your games are at PNC and half of them are on the road, but still, that's you know what I mean? You're talking about 31 to give him 20. That's a huge difference. Oh, well, that's actually interesting. His 15 home runs this year would be 14. So not a big difference.
Right.
Not a big difference. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's good. This is what I like about this, and we got to get out of here now. I mean, we let this go because, we're getting a lot of the good stuff from the comments here. And, I'm more approaching this from let's see what they do and then we'll analyze the crap out of it. You know what I mean? Rather than we don't
have to make the decision. We just get to react to it.
We get to be mad or happy about it afterwards.
They didn't ask me for my opinion, so
I don't know. So Jim says he thinks they'll go Reynolds. I think so too. I really do. And I think that's probably appropriate.
And I don't think they're going to go like an expensive rental. I think they're going to try to get, something for a little cheap.
I mean, any rental anymore.
Which most rentals are.
I'd be happy with Winker. There's a couple guys. But I think they'll go that route too. And like I said, as much as I want to see this team, be good year in and year out and all that stuff, as much as I want them to do, there's still some like realism that sets in. There's still some understanding that I get it. What they've told us is they're trying to build something sustainable. And the way that you do that is not big splashes and sell for a window. They're not going to chase a window. They want to just continue to be good. The problem with that strategy is that we're going to have these types of conversations every year because they're never going to be even when they opened that window back in 13 through 15 and they got their way to a 98 win team. Like this strategy, unless you get really hot, it doesn't quite do that. And so you're eventually you have to, if you open a window, then you chase that window and you say, we have to make moves to fit in this window because we have to win. The problem with that is you lose when the window closes.
Right.
And I think they don't want to do that.
Right. Which is what I think why a lot of the draft that they drafted was super young. Because I feel like if you look through our system, our guys are we don't have a bunch of super young guys right now.
Hmm.
I think that's why they went the route they went.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to go after the best too, because that's what they're trying to, you know what I mean? That's what they're trying to do, is this sustainable winning. I mean, they've got to produce some bats in order to actually do that. But they've shown that they're doing well with arms.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of trust that a little bit, right? And I don't know.
I'm
it feels
interested to see.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see the Connor Griffin stuff, because I was playing softball last night, and a few of the guys I was playing softball with played against him in high school. And they're like, he's a dude. He's a dude.
He better be when you're talking about high school.
Right.
But
right.
yeah. You know, and it's back to what I was saying. Giving this extra playoff spot that the Diamondbacks got last year is just going to change the strategy of a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily for the better if you want to go out and say, like, we're going to make a run. We're a World Series team this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I think that the best of the 13, 14, 15. Yeah, no, I think it was that 15 team with the 98 wins. I mean, I think if you don't run into what's his face, I think you go and you win it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Was that the Arrieta year or the Mad Bum year?
That was the Mad Bum year. That was the Mad Bum year, and yeah, I think because Arrieta it was the Arrieta year, because that was the year that the Cardinals had 99 wins, we had 98, and the Cubs had 97.
Yeah.
So that was the Arrieta year. Mad Bum, they were on the even years, right? So they were they were 14, 12, and 10. So yeah, it was the Arrieta year, and that was a dark place that day. That was a dark place. That guy sold his soul to the devil for sure. To go on the run that he went on, then he was done.
Yeah.
Absolute cooked. So yeah. Yeah, and the Arrieta start, like, he hit who was it? He hit Marte, right? And then just because he knew he could and get the next guy, like, he was on a different level.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mad Bum year, that wasn't even close. Crawford had that grand slam. So terrible. Yeah. There you go, OG. Roids, sold your soul to the devil. It's one of them. There it is, and there's another one. Yeah. There was some evil going on there for sure.
Yeah.
There was some evil. But all right, man. Hey, this was a great time. Thanks for being so active in the chat. That always kind of helps at the end of the show to get things going there. And so appreciate you guys being in here as always. Hey, the second half starts tomorrow for those of you listening on audio. Tonight. We'll see, man. It's going to be exciting. These next 11 days are going to be exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go Bucks.
Yep. Let's go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks.